Not so long ago, even the idea of a coupe SUV would have seemed a little bit ridiculous, but these body styles are well and truly here to stay. Benz, for example, tells us that up to 25% of its GLE sales mix in Australia is made up of these coupe body styles, which brings us to this car, the all-new GLE Coupe. What's it like? What's changed? What's new? And what's set for Australia? Before we find out, remember you'll be able to check out the full review over on carsguide.com.au, and remember to hit those like and subscribe buttons to stay up to date with our latest videos. This GLE Coupe has a far more refined look than before. In fact, it's easy to see the new generation GLE class had the coupe version in mind from the very beginning when it comes to its proportions. And all this is helped along by the second generation GLE's new underpinnings. It looks mean, especially in the AMG-tuned GLE 53 that we had a chance to test. The front seems low and wide for an SUV, and is totally dominated by that massive toothy AMG grille. It doesn't matter how you feel about coupe SUVs, it's hard to say that the GLE Coupe doesn't have presence in profile. As someone who admittedly doesn't even like the entire concept of this body style, I even think that the new rear end is super slick, with trimmed light fittings and a swish little ducktail spoiler that's built out of the boot lid. This car's presence well and truly extends to the inside. The GLE 53 we're testing here has ambient lighting, wood grain trim, and Mercedes' impressive MBUX dual screen setup. And it's all deployed in a rather tasteful and toned down manner. Despite the slopey roofline, Benz has managed to improve the interior dimensions in the GLE Coupe in no less than 13 areas. That means more legroom, more headroom, more elbow room, and more boot space. Although, it should come as no surprise that headroom is naturally compromised slightly in the back seat. Stock features are impressive too. Gone are the days when premium automakers lagged behind the multimedia and safety of their cheaper alternatives. MBUX, for example, comes with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto as standard, as does a sat-nav suite with some rather cool augmented reality features. Like your phone, you can also ask it questions by saying, "Hey Mercedes." On our test drive, we found it responded with remarkable accuracy. It can do things like open the sunroof and find you specific songs from internet radio. We're not entirely sure which features will be standard for the Australian market just yet, so stay tuned for more closer to its release date, sometime in late 2020. While there will be a plethora of variants available locally, Australia will predictably miss out on the diesels, leaving us with just two petrol-powered variants, the highly specced GLE 450 and the variant we've had a chance to test today, the AMG-tuned GLE 53. Both of which will sport Benz's new 48-volt augmented 3-litre inline-6 engine with formidable power outputs. The GLE 53 is predictably a weapon. Its boost in power is made more responsive still through the use of an electrically assisted compressor, which reduces turbo lag by using power from that 48-volt system. It's mated to an AMG-tuned 9-speed automatic transmission. Keep in mind that we're not sure of the pricing that these variants will wear in Australia just yet, but it will almost certainly come in above the cost of the outgoing GLE 43, which itself costs almost $150,000. Okay, so how does the GLE drive? One thing you can't level at it is that it feels tight and sporty and agile. It's just big, and there's no getting around that fact. It's big and it's angry, and this engine really makes it sound strong as well. Speaking of the engine, you get this, in the 53 at least, you get this awesome straight six. It's got smooth power delivery and it sounds refined. This is a gentleman's AMG, not the raucous rear drive V8s of times gone past, so sorry if you're a fan of that. Refinement levels are excellent in here. There is an adaptive suspension package that will be available on the 450, but the AMG has its own bespoke tune, which we have no complaints about at all. It's lovely, it's comfortable, you don't hear any tire noise, and even the engine is a distant, satisfying rumble. All right, now in terms of criticisms, as I said before, this car feels big and it has a bit of a problem with visibility. The A-pillar is massive, it's chunky, it takes up your vision, and that's when you're coming up to a T-junction, possibly a slight safety issue. And then there's your view out of the rear mirror. It is, look, I've got to stop short of saying it's terrible, and I keep trying to adjust my mirror to see more, but that's all there is. It's literally just a letterbox. But compromise or not, every time I've driven this thing, I've had a smile on my face. It's nothing like an SUV to drive in some ways, and that's pretty commendable. It's interesting that I found the ride so good in the 53 we were able to sample, given that my colleague Matt Campbell found the ride in the stock wagon-bodied GLE class less than impressive. You'll have to stand by for future road tests to see how we find the ride on the 450. Available as an option will be the S-Class derived E-Active Body Control Air Suspension. It will be a wildly expensive option, but adds ultra high-tech features like road scanning and curve tilting to optimize ride and cornering. We'll be keen to test it when it becomes available on a test car in the Australian market. Safety-wise, the regular GLE class comes kitted with high-speed auto emergency braking, lane departure warning, lane keep assist, blind spot monitoring, front and rear cross traffic alerts, adaptive cruise, a 360-degree parking suite, and driver attention alert in our market. We'll be surprised if the coupe variants launch with less. Unless it changes in the next few months, expect the GLE Coupe to launch with the same Luxo Class 3-year warranty, as well as service packs that can be bundled in at the time of purchase on finance. Stay tuned closer to the GLE Coupe's release date for accurate pricing. Whether you like coupe SUVs or not, there's no denying that the GLE 53 is a total tech showcase on wheels, and a bit of a postmodern take on what a gratuitous sports car really looks like. Remember, we'll know more about the Australian specification closer to its release date, so stay tuned for that. See you next time.